screaming. They won it by 4 in the end.
American Anthem has taken off. American Anthem easily in the Woody Stevens.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Spa Babies, presented by WinStar Farm. I'm Dan Illman, along with Nicole Russo. Let's take a look at the field for Friday's Spa Baby event. It's the $100,000 Skidmore Stakes, carded as race number 4 at 5.5 furlongs on the turf. You've got 2 in here, trained by Wesley Ward. 3, actually, if you count the number 2, Nuclear Option, entered for main track only. 2 entered for trainer Todd Pletcher. Nicole will begin down towards the inside with the number 1 Mentality, who scratched out of the Philly Stakes race, the Bolton Landing, earlier this week to run against the boys. Wesley Ward has done this in the past, and he has done it successfully with fillies.
Yeah, and I do think Mentality is well placed here. There was a lot of speed in the Bolton Landing, which was run yesterday, as we saw. Mentality was a Belmont debut winner on the lead, maybe getting a little leg weary late. She cuts back just slightly from 6 furlongs to 5.5 here. I think she's well drawn toward the inside to work out a good trip. She's certainly got the pedigree to excel in these turf sprints. Her sire Freud just dominates the New York turf sire ranks. Broodmare sire Lemon Drop Kid, also a turf sire. And this one, Mentality, is a foal to Lovely Sin, who was a multiple stakes winner sprinting on dirt, but there are some turf stakes horses in the family. I really like Mentality placed here.
The second dam was Grade 2 stakes place on turf, and as we see Mentality's career debut at Belmont, this is what Wesley Ward does. He gets them to win early. This horse showed good speed, which is imperative from the inside post on Friday. Gets a little bit leg weary, as you mentioned, late, but it was a good, solid performance for Mentality, who now is up in class and might face a little bit more pace pressure. The 2 is Nuclear Option. She has entered main track only. We'll move on to the number 3. That is Naughty Boy. Naughty Boy is by Mizzenmast, one of our favorite stallions. He doesn't get a lot of press. He just gets lots of winners, especially on the turf.
Yeah, very much so. Not that he can't sire a dirt horse, but he definitely gets you a turf runner, including good turf sprinters like Ms. Direction, 2-time winner at the Breeders' Cup. Mizzenmast, one of my favorite underrated sires, and Naughty Boy won the debut on turf. Draw a line probably through his green trip in the Sanford on dirt next out. This one I kind of like to move back forward again.
Let's watch his career debut on the turf at Laurel. This was a nice performance. He is 25-1, and you see he is on the chase in mid-stretch. This horse on the lead is the favorite. He is loose with about 1.5 furlongs to go, but Naughty Boy is resolute. He refuses to quit. He keeps grinding and grinding and grinding, and he gets his nose down on the wire, and he earned a solid Beyer speed figure of 71. This is a lot of professionalism for this son of Mizzenmast, and as we see from the pedigree card, he's got some bloodlines as well. He is an interesting sort of long shot in here because in that Laurel race, he defeated 2 next out winners.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like this horse as a long shot play. We'll talk a little bit about later. The Beyer he earned on debut is definitely on par for the field.
The number 4 in this field is Jupster, also trained by Wesley Ward. Let's go back to earlier in this Saratoga meet on July the 31st. Jupster racing on dirt, took some money in here, went off the favorite in a field of 8 $50,000 maiden claimers. He showed speed. He kept on going. Now, I look at this pedigree, Nicole, and I see Mineshaft, and I think to myself, boy, Mineshaft was a top handicap horse in his day for Will Farish and Neil Howard, but I don't necessarily love him on the turf.
No, I don't necessarily either, although Mineshaft did start his own career overseas, ran well enough on the turf. His top runners throughout his stallion career have all been dirt horses. He's sired good sprinters like Discreetly Mine, but most of them have run well longer. He's got several classic place runners on his resume. This one's out of a Medaglia d'Oro mare who can get you a turf horse, and there are some turf winners in the female family. Jupster might be okay on turf, but I think he wants to go longer.
I agree with you about that. I think distance will really be his friend down the road. The dam is a 1/2 to 3 black-type earners, including the stakes-place turf ratter American Czarina and the really long-winded Redding Collieri, who is certainly a 2-turn horse on the dirt. The number 5 is Flame Away, going out for trainer Mark Cassie. Now, Flame Away Away was a career debut winner at Woodbine over the Tapeta surface. Let's watch that race right now. I like this performance from Flame Away. He took money. He was a universal good thing. He sat just off the leader. He came and collared that leader in the stretch, and he went on his way. Only a 49 Beyer speed figure, but I'm not going to hold that against him. He's only a May 2-year-old.
Yeah, and sometimes these Beyers you can't hold against them because unless it's a freak of a horse who just runs off the screen, I mean, they're running as fast as they need to win the race. Certainly, I think a professional debut effort from Flame Away. Being by Scat Daddy should transfer that synthetic form to turf. They seem to run on anything, and the Scat Daddies can certainly go a bit longer, so adding an extra furlong here, Flame Away, should be okay for him.
And taking a look at his horse profile card, Flame Away, always well regarded at the sales, a $150,000 short yearling who sold up for $400,000 last year. As you mentioned, Scat Daddy was a good solid stallion, 14% with first turf runners, and there is turf and synthetic ability in this family. Flame Away attracts Javier Castellano and is listed at 6-1 on the morning line. The number 6 in here is Dial1, one of 2 in here for trainer Todd Pletcher. This one is already stakes placed on the dirt, but let's go back to the career debut back in May at Gulfstream on the turf. Dial1 sent off as the 3-5 favor, as many Pletcher horses will first time out. I really like the way he finished this off. Look at the way he's extending in the lane. A good solid race, and he backed it up with a nice effort on dirt. I think turf's going to be his home, though.
Yeah, I think so as well. Dialed In, who is by Mineshaft, who we discussed earlier, was last year's leading fresh sire, so definitely juvenile ability there. This one is out of a Warfront mare. Warfront, we know, is such a good 2-year-old sire, such a good turf sire, very popular internationally. Warfront being a touch younger, we don't have that many runners out of his daughters to evaluate yet. But I'm thinking that Warfront, appearing so close up on the page, will add the turf ability that you're talking about. And you know what? This one, Dial1, I think has a little bit of class. He finished third in the Kiss a Native on dirt, as we mentioned. The winner, Diamond Oops, stepped way up in class and came back to run 6th in the Saratoga Special here last weekend. But the runner-up, Bobby Axe, did come back to win. That's coming back as a pretty nice race.
Let's look at the horse profile card for Dial1 by the 2016 leading freshman sire Dialed In, and you see there is some turf in this pedigree. The dam is a 1/2 to 2 black type earners, so Dial1 certainly looked good in that career debut on turf. Pletcher did win the Bolton Landing with an impressive come from behind runner, and Dial1 seems to have nice tactical speed, and if it's Todd, there's going to be a positive formulator fact. Here it is. Past 2 years, 2-year-olds moving dirt to turf off a mini layoff. He's winning at 38% with a $3.50 return on investment. Pletcher also has the number 7, El Dulce, who was a solid debut winner at Saratoga. Let's watch that race on the grass. El Dulce is the number 3, showed good speed down towards the inside, is confronted by the horse that's been pressing the pace throughout, the 7, Majestic Dunhill, and he digs in very, very gamely. He's drifting out a bit in the lane, but after he puts away the 7, he then takes on Ultima D in the lane and holds him off. Good, solid performance for El Dulce. 72 Beyer speed figure, but he steps up in class.
Yeah, he is. And you know what? Obviously, there's a lot to like about El Dulce, and being by Todd Pletcher, you have to take him seriously. The 72 Beyer is the best in the field, but not by much. If you wanted to take a shot at beating him, Naughty Boy has a 71, and Mentality and Dial1 have both run 70s. So this is a well-matched field. El Dulce is by Twirling Candy, who's kind of by that good all-purpose sire Candy ride, and Twirling Candy definitely adds speed to the page. This one is out of an Argentinian stakes winner, definite turf ability on both sides. Like I said, a lot to like about this one. I wouldn't argue with, putting him on top as a clear favorite, but I think he's got a shot to beat him.
I agree with you. I wouldn't take too short a price because, as you mentioned, this is a very evenly matched field. He is 5-2 on the morning line. That seems about fair for a Pletcher-trained 2-year-old this time of year. We do have another formulator fact for Pletcher concerning El Dulce. Over the past 2 years, with 2-year-old debut winners returning in their second start on turf, he's 4 for his last 6 with a $7 return on investment. Rounding out the field is the number 8, ChinAmato, who is still a maiden and is wheeling back on very short notice. We saw him 6 days ago in that race, right when the torrential rain began on 4-star Dave Saturday. Let's take a look at the horse profile card for ChinAmato, a $100,000 buyback in June. This horse is by Into Mischief. There is a lot of turf and a lot of class on the bottom of this pedigree.
Very much so. We've talked before about Into Mischief, a star juvenile sire, last year's leading juvenile sire. Best runners are on dirt, but he certainly can get you a turf horse with the likes of Vijack, who's a grade 2 winner on both turf and dirt. Into Mischief from the Harlan's Holiday sire line, which produces turf horses. We're starting to see his young son Shanghai Bobby produce some turf winners. And this one's out of a Divine Park mare, which I think definitely adds some turf ability as well. Divine Park, a son of Arlington Million winner Chester House, has got good runners, of course, like the multiple grade 1 winner Lady Eli out there.
Interested to see what we get from the 8, ChinAmato, in his turf debut. I would expect a good amount of early speed. As you mentioned, this is an evenly matched race. Where are you heading?
Well, I am going to be one of the ones who tries to beat El Dulce. Wouldn't shock me at all if he beat me instead. But I think with this field being so evenly matched, I'm going to look down inside at Naughty Boy. As I mentioned, Miz and Mass, one of my favorite underrated sires. I really like his professional debut win at Laurel, obviously stepping up in class off that, but should be, good and racing fit. I think you can draw a line through the Sanford, and I am going to take a look at Ward's filly Mentality. I think she's going to work out a nice trip.
I think it's a really tough race. El Dulce for Pletcher must be respected. It'll be interesting to see what sort of trip he gets, breaking outside several other speeds. I have a feeling he's professional enough to sit in the second flight, and we'll see if he can come with a run and pass horses late. I agree with you on Naughty Boy and Mentality. These horses look primed and ready to go on the turf. 7-3-1 for me in the $100,000 Skidmore race. It's our Spa Babies race for Friday. It's presented by WinStar Farm.